Welcome to Power CEOs, the truth behind the business. I'm Jen Gaudet, your fearless host, entrepreneur, investor, and business strategist. Why are we here? Because iron sharpens iron. And when we bring successful entrepreneurs and investors to share what's working in business and even what's not, we all learn and grow. As a result, our businesses grow, and the ripple effect impacts not only ourselves, our teams, and their families, but also our communities and our world. You're in for a treat today because we're going to dive deep into topics that you have asked about time and time again. Resilience in business, how to overcome setbacks and keep moving forward. Entrepreneurship isn't a roller coaster, and at some point, every business owner faces challenges that test their resilience, whether it's personal hardship, financial struggles, or a major pivot. Today, I have brought to you an expert in the space, James Elliot, founder of Limitless Entrepreneur. He has built a business helping entrepreneurs to break free from burnout, self-doubt, and overwhelm. Welcome to the show, James.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Well, you are no stranger to the highs and lows of business. So
Yeah.
I'm going to dive right in. Can you share a defining moment in your entrepreneurial journey where you faced a major challenge or setback, and tell me a little bit about how you navigated it?
Yeah, it's interesting. Like you said, there's high highs, there's low lows sometimes in the entrepreneur world. It's really interesting. So, okay, a time I found a setback. Well, I often find that nothing works forever, nothing works perfectly forever, and we always need to be tweaking and adjusting things. And I found something wasn't working, and I kept throwing more money at it and more money at it. Okay, works a little better, and then more money, and eventually starts working less and less, and you're throwing more and more money into that. Hands up, people, if you if you've ever had that. Um, so one of these big moments of the high and the low lows, and because the lows started getting lower, but it was costing me more and more and more in ads or promotion or whatever to be able to maintain. And I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't working. Something is very wrong here. And the human mind loves comfort. And I'm like, wait, I think I'm just staying in a comfort zone here by truly pivoting and changing and transforming how I do it and what I did. So it was looking at, okay, I'm in the comfort zone. It's costing me a fortune. It's depressive because that part of my business was going down, and it was burning me out. It was exhausting. So it's saying, this has got to stop. Something's got to give. And so looking at what I didn't want to do anymore, what would light me up, and what was going to be a whole lot more fun, and what would likely work better. I looked at that, and I made those scary but important pivots. And now there's an exciting business that I love.
So, a lot of times when we face adversity, we get into fear, and people might, fight, flight, or freeze response. Some people might put their head in the sand and pretend that it's not happening.
Sure.
And a lot of times we need to learn lessons from these failures or these hardships, and it requires a mindset shift in order to push through adversity. Can you talk a little bit about the biggest lesson that you've learned or mindset shift that's helped you push through those adverse moments?
Fair. So other than I guess change is the only constant, and that everything is here for us. To your point, there's a lesson we need to learn. I've been learning many lessons all my life, and I think life happens for us. It doesn't happen to us. There's no failure. There's only growth. So we win or we grow, and I think having that mindset, that growth mindset, and okay, this is not a failure. This is not bad, even though maybe I don't prefer this or don't prefer the situation. It's not bad per se. And staying out of that victim mindset and instead looking at whatever happens to us in life and business. Okay, how is this good? How is this actually gonna be rocket fuel for me? How can I take this and transform it? I mean, they use methane for rocket ships, and cow poop makes methane. So taking poop to methane and being able to have your rocket ship or freedom ship or whatever it is, be able to take you anywhere you want. Building that resilience, I think, requires that view, that mindset shift of, okay, even if this isn't good now, this eventually will be good. And I've had different things help me become less egotistical to failure points or hardships, help me become more empathetic, more kind, more open, better listener. I've had it help me become a better entrepreneur, and more charismatic, but also more confident as well because of some of these, hard times, the pitfalls. Like I said, even though the times we do not prefer, it's like, okay, this eventually will be good. How is this going to help me eventually? How will this help me, in fact, or how can I take this and use it to go where I want to go?
Yeah, and something that's a common thread in entrepreneurship is we're always going to have challenges. We're always going to
Yes.
have hurdles. We're going to have, I call them speed bumps along the way. Some of them are the size of mountains, other of them
True,
are
true,
not so much.
true.
But really, resilience is what is the difference between success and failure in business.
Yep.
So that's mental toughness. And I like to say it's kind of like a muscle, right? If you go to the
True.
gym and you want to increase strength, I was in sports medicine forever, so I like this analogy.
I
Like
love
you
the
can't just
metaphor
go
too.
pick up a 50-pound dumbbell and do a bicep curl if you've never lifted weights before.
Right on,
You're going to
right on.
start with maybe a 5, an 8, or a 10 because that's where you are. But you can,
Yeah.
through training and consistency, build that muscle so one day you will get to that 50-pound dumbbell curl, for example. So I'm going to ask you, like, when everything feels like it's falling apart as an entrepreneur, what are some steps entrepreneurs can take to regain control, and how can they build that resiliency muscle so that it becomes more of a piece of paper as opposed to a mountain of a speed bump?
Right on. I love that. So the resilience factor, I think, is to be probably a little crazy, though I think all entrepreneurs are a little crazy. Otherwise, we wouldn't be entrepreneurs. Or to stay entrepreneurs and not give up, to have that resilience. I think we have to be a little crazy. But it's that never giving up, and just remembering. I love remembering the book, Napoleon Hill, 4 Feet from Gold. I do not want to be one of those miners that gave up, sold the land, sold all the equipment to a local miner 10 feet, I say 4 feet, 10 feet from gold. And then the local miner, knowing better that there's various pockets of gold, and they start and stop and start and stop. And and it's a true story. This one miner found one of the richest veins of gold in, I think it was Alaska, if not the Yukon, and just knowing better when the other miners had given up 10 feet previously, or 10 feet before. So I think it's true to keep going no matter what, and having something to keep you going no matter what, whether it's your passion, your purpose, your family, your faith, whatever it is, having something, or just a diehard, never give up attitude. Like me, I've been through so much adversity in my life. I've been able to build that muscle, like you said. It is a mental muscle we have to build, and again, by taking action, facing our fears, bigger and bigger steps, bigger fears, bigger risks, we do build that muscle, and that way you can go big, so to speak. And yes, there's always a risk in life. We may slip outside on the sidewalk, or something happens in business, but it's building that mental muscle to be able to take these big actions, because fate favors the fearless. That's for sure.
Oh, and it definitely favors those of us who continue to pursue. So, for the people who
True.
are watching at home right now, what is one thing they can start today, maybe a practice or a technique that they can start to build that resiliency muscle, even if they're not in adversity currently?
Fear. I think looking at the fear, because fear is what will kill all dreams. Fear is the killers of all dreams, whether we're starting, we're stopping, we're taking action. And I think to just step into that and look, okay, what is this fear, or why am I procrastinating? Why am I wanting to bail? Why am I hesitating? And thinking, okay, how can I shift? Not giving up, never give up. And that's one of the secrets to resilience, is never giving up, because those are the people who are successful. I think it's I guess a test from life. It's a test to say, how committed to this are you? Do you just want this or wish to want it, or are you super committed? Again, like a sports medicine metaphor, are you willing to do anything possible, legal, moral, ethical, for us to lose weight, or be more healthy, have more energy, or be successful in business, or do you just want it? I think life's a test. I think, and it's I guess testing us. It's also their lessons. It's all lessons as well for growth. So I think to look at, where do you need to pivot, where do you need to go, who do you need to talk to? Like, is there someone you can talk to that'll help you, motivate you, stay on the right track, persevere you, hold you accountable, and lift you up when you're feeling down? I think that's one of the biggest things. The also, I guess, is to, instead of running away from your fears, or pushing them down, oh no, it's okay, things are not, is to really examine them. Yes, it sucks, and yes, it can be hard, but just really to check in and take stock with the fears, the worries. What is this about? What is this making me feel? How am I feeling? And almost really feeling into that, paying attention to it, versus head in the sand, or stuffing it down. It's like a fire in your basement. Really letting it up. Again, it sucks. It can be scary, and almost feeling through that, burning through that, because eventually it's like a candle. It kind of burns away. I think it's
Well,
one of
and
the best pieces of advice.
it's really interesting because one of the things that I like to say a lot of times is awareness is the first step to overcoming anything. And so if we're putting our hands in the sand, folks, we're not addressing our feels.
Nope.
We're not using that awareness. We're just avoiding it altogether. And so I really like that you brought that up because it's so important that we actually examine what is it, what is the fear? Is it rational? Has this ever occurred? Because a lot of times we shift and our lizard brain tells us, oh my goodness, like the world is coming to an end. Ask yourself, are you still breathing? Are you still alive? Because the reality is that worst case scenario has never come to pass. And for those of us who are, pushing 50 or maybe a little bit on the other side of that, it's a really good kind of measuring stick to say, okay, well, we've had a lot of fear along the way, but I'm still breathing. I'm still above ground. So there's something to be grateful for and working towards. We do have to take a brief break, but we will be right back with James after these messages.